Hey guys, I'm Mikey Microphone, and the microphone is a metaphor for the fact that you have something beautiful to say, but you need to make the arrangements so you can be heard. So today I'm going to continue some development. So I've been facing a couple dilemmas. One is like, I don't really want to make videos where I show styling because it's, obviously it's a lot more arbitrary than development in a lot of cases. But I know that some people will find those techniques interesting. The styling techniques that I tend to use at this stage in this project are pretty general purpose. So I think the level of educationalness might be satisfactory. And so my plan for today is to do a few list submission tasks and then make a few lists of Ixalan spoilers so that I can try to get a little juice onto the site. And then I'm going to do some styling. It's actually, what I'm going to do is a little bit more about user interface, UX, as it were, making it possible to cancel an edit so that it'll display the form, but then if you don't want to go through with the edit, you'll be able to cancel it. And I think as a side effect bonus of that, I'm going to be able to display, well, okay, so say you're editing something, blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh, I wonder what it said before. I'm not sure what I want to write. I wonder what it said before. So since the unedited version will be just hiding there for waiting for you to cancel the edit so it can come back, you'll be able to be editing and the unedited, and you'll be like, oh, I wonder what it said before. And then it'll be able to show the unedited, the existing text that you have there. So I think once those tools are in place, we'll be ready to make the other video where I can show potential authors how my system works so that they will hopefully be tempted to give it a try. Okay, so this one, so as you may or may not know, when you edit a listed item, it goes back into the unreviewed state, or if you want it private for only your muggles, it goes to unreviewed private. And that is because I want to make sure that nobody uses any bad words. So for lists, I need to be doing the same thing. And the way that I accomplish it for listed items is when you go into the edit, you have this logic. If it is published, then it is now unreviewed. If it is secret, it is now unreviewed secret. So I'm going to grab this same logic and go to the list controller. And I'm just going to drop that in here. And then I'm going to just change this variable to that one. And in the interest of moving through these tasks a little faster, I probably am not going to be testing them on camera as frequently as I have in the earlier videos. I'm starting to feel the emotions that go along with having a untested application, and that I feel like the more I add, the more likely I'm to break something. So soon I'm hoping to start covering the app with specs and tests so that in the long run, and even in the medium, the development cycle is going to speed up, and the emotions around it are just dramatically different. You'll be really impressed. And you'll be much more employable because I'm going to teach you how to do that. Or maybe you'll teach me. There we go. Okay, so this is done. I'll go ahead and commit it. Okay, like that. Okay, so list must be reviewed after being edited. And the way that this works is just that there are 3 radio buttons on the edit list form, and they say, is this a draft, is it public, or is it just for my muggles? And once the list's privacy setting is set to either unreviewed or unreviewed secret, then the radio button in the form will be selected. And when they submit the form, the data will come into the application as either unreviewed or unreviewed secret. There's no way for them to send it in as published or secret because those options do not exist as part of the form that they are using to edit. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is make it so that, I will test it before I deploy, don't worry. The next thing that I want to do is a listed item is auto-approved if logged in as scribe. So if I am logged in working on the list, I don't want to have to take the extra step of approving it. And that will enable me to update things a little bit faster. And being able to update them faster will motivate me to update them more. So, looking at my interface, let's see, do I have a server running? Yeah, looks like I do. Okay, so I'm not logged in here. I'm going to go ahead and use the forward service to pipe my application through a tunnel towards this public address at which I am logged in using my test Facebook application. And let's say I'm working on a list. I discover a new gaming store, and it is called Jimmy's Emporium. And it is in Tallahassee. I forget how far south Jimmy's Emporium is. I think it's in Florida. Okay, so when I submit that, I'll just go ahead and go through. When I submit this, that is going to the listed items controller. See it right here. And it's going to create. And you can see what it sent in. So privacy is unreviewed. I guess I'll fire up console. So when I go to the listed items controller, the create action, okay. So this is really interesting logic here. I have can protecting the controller so that it can only be accessed by authorized individuals, authorized users. But I have create accepted from that. And the reason is because I have can engaged right here. And the reason I engaged it right there is because there are some listed items that can be saved even if you are not logged in particular, things that are being suggested. Okay, so suggested is a different type of privacy setting than unreviewed. And suggested is the type that has to be reviewed by the list creator before it goes into the review process for the administrator. So anyway, I have some logic here. If listed item is suggested, but I want to update the privacy before saving. So I'll say if current scribe, and then I'm basically doing the opposite of this here. If they want it to be public, it will be public. If they want it to be private, then it will be. And in terms of updating, I can do the same thing. I should probably push all of this into a... Okay, it's slightly different here. I should probably push that logic into a helper method rather than copy and pasting it twice. That is slightly different here because I have to save it again. Listed item.save. Okay, so that's actually going to save it twice. Let's see. So I could do an if else where listed item updating its attributes will persist it to the database, and then this is going to go and hit the database again. That's not awesome, but I don't think that there is any reason why it's actively bad or even relevant right now. I mean, I want to keep the door open to have kind of a life cycle around each save, but let's see, I have before create, I have before update. Remove from sequence if privacy changed. Okay, so if something is being removed or rejected, I need to update the ordering. Removal or rejection, do those go through update? Yeah, I think they do. All right, reject. Reject is different, but remove probably goes through update. But if it is being removed, then this won't trigger. And if this happens after that, then this will not be true, I don't think. This is kind of worth double checking. Or I could just circumvent it. But let's go through and figure out what the behavior is so that anyone who is learning Rails 5 can refer to us and we can tell them the answer. So the question is basically, what happens if you save something twice in a row? Will the dirty tracking on the attribute remain dirty between the first and second saves? So what we're going to do is we're going to bybug here. So we'll get to jump into the debugger right before this method is called. Then I'm going to get into a situation where this is true. And that way I'll have one save and the second save. So since I am logged in with an account that has a scribe account, I have my scribe tools here, and this is what we built yesterday, being able to log into both accounts at once. I think the video mentions scopes, so that's the one that you should look for if you want to see how to do that. Log into all device scopes, or log into all scopes at once, or something like that. And crazy, Timmy, wow, there actually is a store. That is marvelous. Okay, so I'm gonna be removing. And you can see, if you look at the status bar at the bottom of the screen, it says listed item /904.js, and it doesn't say remove. It is simply leveraging the update action. Data method is put, so it is going to use HTTP verb known as put to tell the server which action on the controller should be activated. That's the way that, well, basically multiple different actions use the same URL, but they use different verbs. And so we're going to use this one. Okay, so this is actually currently in an unreviewed state. Let's see. If it's unreviewed, it will be changed. Okay. So what I should do is actually publish it first and then return to this. So I'm going to open this in a new, and I'll approve this. Okay. This probably got caught up. Okay, so privacy changed. True. Continue. Bada boom. There it goes. Okay, so going back here, and just to be, I don't think I need to refresh in order to make this consistent. Yeah, let's give it a try. So I'll click remove. Bybug is here. Privacy changed. Yes. Continue, and Bybug is now here again. Privacy changed. False. Okay, good. So if it gets saved twice in a row, it knows. Okay, so just to recap, I added a little convenience logic that was going to bypass the review step if a reviewer is the one who's making the change. I noticed that this was going to result in 2 consecutive saves, which is normally not the way things are done. So I checked if there was actually going to be any consequences to that, and it turns out that there was, sort of, but not really. This is a scenario where we can do better. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to commit this, even though I haven't tested it. I'll commit it. So let's see, listed items do not need review if scribe is logged in. That's just about specific enough. It's not perfectly detailed, but it describes the scenario clearly enough that I know what it means. And hopefully you do too. Okay. So I think my alternative here is going to be kind of like an if-else. If the scribe is in, then I won't do this update here, I'll do it here. And if the scribe is in, I'll do this in a way where it modifies the object, but doesn't save it until here on line 47. And that way this is still a contiguous block that matches up with this, and I can extract that out into its own spot, either on the listed item model or here in the controller. Okay, so I guess to check this out, I will go ahead and leave this in here. Not yet though. First I will add a new Jambio's card gamies. Okay, so listed item.last. Privacy is published. It didn't have to go through the review step. And actually, if I load here my review queue, didn't get in there. Now, if I put the buy bug in here, and I go, please remove this. Let's see if this happens once or twice. Yep, just once. Okay, so now it is only getting saved once. All right. So I'll make sure that I do not save this. I can actually update it right from here. And so now removed listed item. It's not saved twice. Okay, I'm thinking now that this logic is a bit more complex than I gave it credit for, so I'm gonna just review it one more time. So if things are being removed, okay, I was just making sure that putting something into a privacy state known as removed, it won't interact with this. Because if it is being put into that state, that will happen here. And if it is in that state, it will skip over this, it will simply save itself, and then it will jump into this sequence. So there we go. Removed item, listed item not saved twice. Okay, great. So now in the next video, I am going to do some styling and some interface work for the author. So the scribe, the person who is going to be writing books for me, which hopefully includes you and all of your family. Let's make some money at wayswemage.com.